Let's write our bridge GUI. Hello everyone, this is Ali Reza. Welcome to the Mentor Code Lab. The idea behind the bridge GUI is to create this structure. Basically, you will have a single block that when you activate in any one of the direction, it will go on and create a tunnel that has windows, that has roof, that has floor and walls. Take note, the way we are doing it in this video is not the best way of doing it, because later down the road when we learn about structures, you will see that we can conveniently use structures and spawn structures in the world using code instead of doing shenanigans. However, right now we don't know how to use structures, so we want to see if we can use something else to mimic this behavior. Now, I did take the code from tunneling into bridge because the very first order of business is to empty out a 3x3 area that we will walk inside. However, take note that I took the Z for loop as the outside one instead of being the inside one. In tunneling, we were looping through Z as the innermost for loop, but this time, this is the outermost for loop. Now we loop through X and Z and we clean the 3x3 area. However, right after the X loop, when we are in the Z loop, we start doing our shenanigan. And yes, this will be a big, huge headache and shenanigan, as you will see. And how did I figure these things out was totally by try and error. I mean, in the tunneling video, I told you that you can go and take a look at directions and logically find the loop. This time around, I had to really try and error to figure things out. As you see, I had the new pause, but I added another block pause as temp, so don't miss that one. Now, what we want to do is to identify the facings. So we say if facing is direction dot north. If we are looking at the north direction, we want to do something. After that, I will copy and paste things and change the directions. But before doing it, I want to add few boilerplate things inside this if statement. Here we will do something. Then we will say for int x, we will start by -1. Then we say x should be smaller than 2 and x plus plus. That's the loop. Inside this loop, we will not have any other loop, but we will do things. After this loop, again, we will do our shenanigans. And here we say if z modulus 2 does not equal to 0, means that we are odd number, we will do things. Otherwise, we do other things. What does this mean? If you take note, I will add windows every other block. So if I zoom in so that you can see the image better, let's say that this line represents the starting point. The first block is where z modulus 2 does not equal 0, means this block. Z modulus 2 equals to 0 means the block that should have window. And again, we will loop one after another inside this situation. This part is responsible of adding windows and not windows around the borders. And this will be the boilerplate that we have. So I will just copy it, paste it. Now this one should be for south, this one should be for the east, and this one should be for the west. Okay, now let's talk about the north direction. And if you understand what's going on there, the rest is not as bad as we want. The very first thing is that we want our new pause. So we say new pause, the position of the block entity, that is our original GUI, but then we want to move forward, isn't it? Based on the Z. That gives us the bottom center block of our tunnel. After that, we want to say that inside the for, we want to process some blocks. So we say temp equals to new pause dot east as x. So we go toward the east direction. Here, we want to process the block. But if I look at the code, we are sending a GUI base block and a block. We have an extra condition to check here. So we say if not word dot get block state at the temp position dot is of mod blocks dot bridge GUI. So if we are not already a bridge GUI, that is when we want to call the process block. We sent in the word. We use the temp as the new position. Now here we want to add a new bomb and the entity. So entity is ourself. The bomb is mod blocks dot stone bomb GUI. Now trust me, if you want to learn how I did stuff, stop the video, go and execute the game, give yourself a bridge goo and just execute this code. Let's do it. We create a new world that should be creative, peaceful, and it should be super flat. I'm not gonna bother myself with any settings on the super flat and create new world. Now, the very first thing that we want is our Goo block, the raw. Okay, and I will take a copy of the dirt. So I will move up because I want to demonstrate it up in the air. And remember, we need to face north right now because we are dealing with the condition that we are facing north. So this is the north direction. We put the goo. It doesn't matter where you are, high or low right now, because yes, we will produce the blocks at your position. However, this is in the air, so nothing will happen. I will activate it and you will see this. And it's not the behavior that we want, is it? The reason is that we have screwed something up, and you see that there are tons of cobblestones being dropped because if you take note, we are generating cobblestone below ourselves. Now the top ones are the air goo. That's okay. But we are breaking the blocks below ourselves and that is not what we want. You know what's going on? It's actually funny because our code is completely correct. But take note, if I close these conditions, at the end of our loop for the Z, this is where the tick is ending because this is the whole thing, okay? And here we are not destroying the bridge goo. So in the next tick, it will come again and it will create air. It will create the stone bomb and the stone bomb is processing. So it will break the previous stone blocks and that's our problem. At the end of the tick, we want to say world.set block state for the position with blocks.stone.get default state and block.notify all. This will remove the bridge goo so that in the next tick, we will have correct behavior. Let's run the game and retest it. And honestly, this is why I stopped right there to test things. This class is big and we will move toward directions up, down, left, right. And we want to make sure that each line of code that we are writing will behave properly, especially for the north. If the north direction is behaving correctly, then that's okay. We can process forward until we finish the north because when we go for the south, guess what? We will go south on the Z and repeat ourselves. And I don't know, maybe instead of east, we will use west. That would be it. The whole code will work again. And because of that, you need to make sure that you know that your code is properly functioning one step at a time. Yes, in these try and error cases, you need to go back and forth between the game instance and between the programming just to make sure that things works. And this is time consuming. Now, even without following the logic of your program, it was almost obvious where the problem was. If you had paid attention to the behavior of air goo bombs, you would notice that they would be generated, they would explode and become air, and at some point they would be replaced again with air goo bomb. We already established the fact that air goo bomb will become air block at the end of the tick, and there is no way to replace it with another air goo bomb unless our bridge goo will replace it on the next tick, and that was exactly what was happening. Now, do I need to go into a new world? No. The first iteration will solve our problem and we can see the result. Now you remember I put the bridge goo on top of a column of dirt. Let's see the result now. And as you see, this is the goo and thankfully we did stop. However, our last order to replace it with the stone didn't work because, well, we moved out of the world and we came back and this is not functional. But if I replace it now, if I activate it, you see that air blocks are vanished and you will come face to face with this floor for the bridge. Now you may want to stop right here and right now. And remember, this was our goo block that was replaced with a stone. As I said, you can stop right here and right now. This can be our bridge. But when I was developing my notes, I thought to myself that, you know what, if we are in nether, this bridge is dangerous. I mean, gas and, I like traveling in nether with a peaceful mind. And this will not cut it. So right now, Let me demonstrate it. 1, 2, 3 by 3. This will be our gap. We will not fill this with anything, but I want another row of stone going forward as our roof. So what do I need to do? Remember, we need to add one more stone bridge 4 blocks above the one that we are in. So it's not too complex, is it? We just need to take our temp position and say that, you know what, I want to go up. However, instead of that, I can just process the blocks with the temp dot up for 4 blocks. Now take note, I'm not checking the bridge goo anymore. The reason I had to check the bridge goo is that the bridge goo is actually in the same level of the floor, and I don't want to replace it in this loop until the end of the tick, and because of that I'm checking if we are a bridge goo or not. Okay, now we are processing the roof. Of course, if you want to, you can stop the coding, rerun the game, or if you are using the debug mode, you can use hot swap and then put the goo and activate it. However, now I'm fairly sure that this will be generated properly, so I will save the game and I will come out of the game. Now, before going for this, I have 2 extra rows of blocks to be generated on left or on the right side, because if we take a look at our picture, that odd and even check is for the middle row. Right now, we made sure that we are generating the roof and the floor. Now we want to come out 1 block and generate these 2 rows on each side. So we have to generate the walls except the middle one, okay? To do that, we want to fix this space. Well, we need to reset our pause. Again, we say it's pause.north as Z. However, now I want to go up 1 level, because remember, our new pause was at the floor level. Now we go 1 level up. After that, we work with temp. So we say temp equals our new pause dot east -2. This means that we are moving toward the west direction for 2 blocks. Remember, 1 block moves us from the center. Let me demonstrate it this way. This is our goo block, and we already established 1 stone block here, 1 stone block here, 1 stone block 4 levels up, 1 stone block 4 levels up, and actually we covered the roof. Now, we want to go 1 level up from our current level. That's the responsibility of this line, okay? After that, we want to move 1, 2 blocks toward the west, as we see, because we are looking toward the north, okay? So 1 block will pass this one, and another 1 block will get us into this space. Remember, we have 3 rows, and we want to work on this side and put the bottom rows, then we will move up 2 blocks and add the other row. Then we want to come back to our central position that is here right now, and we will go on the other way and repeat ourselves, okay? So now we want to say process the block for the world with the temp itself, okay? And then we need to send in the entity and the mod blocks dot stone goo bomb. This will produce the bottom row for us. I will copy it and I will paste it. Now, remember, the temp is the bottom row. So if I go with temp, actually, let me think, yeah, dot up 2 blocks. This means that we covered the top row. Then I can move the temp toward the east, but with 2 blocks. Now, this means that instead of west, we are going toward the east, and I will repeat this process. Now, why did I pause for a second there? Because my original code was different. I would cover the east, and then I would go west, and then I would move up, and then I would do things. Now, let me see. Yes, because we moved up 1 level right now. This is sufficient. Let me show you my original code and compare them. And I have a purpose for this. So we are here, as you see, and remember, this whole thing became our process block. So as you compare these, I moved up. Well, I moved up here. Let me use my painting application. Okay, I'm moving up here. Then I will go into west. I will move west here. But then I'm processing the temp. Okay, I'm processing the temp. However, I move to the west and again process the temp. Then I will reset my position and move up and then east and then west. As you see on some structures like these that are actually you coding something bizarre with shenanigans, there is more than one way of doing it. It's just you that figure things out in the order that you want. And that order can be, I put the bottom line, then I move up, and then I do the top line, then I come back and I do the middle line, or you can do the left side, then move toward the right side and do the whole side in one go. It's up to you. What I'm showing you here is the most optimized code that I figured out as I process forward and without anything else. Now, remember at this point, we are on the east side and 3 blocks above the GUI. What we want to do is move 1 block down and toward the west. So I can use the same reset because at the end of the line, we will have to use 2 directional movements again. Instead of going up 1 level now, I will go 2 levels. This is the window layer, okay? And I'm on the west side again. So here I will say, please process the block for the world, for the temp with the entity, but the block that I want to set is the air goo bomb. So modblocks.air bomb goo. This will put the window there. Then I want to process the block again. However, I will say that, please move toward the east 2 blocks. Now, you may think that, hey, wait a minute, are we in the correct spot? This shouldn't be the center. There is an easy way to handle that. You can test it, okay? Now, again, I'm doing air bomb goo. If we are not into this situation and if we are on the other situation, instead of air bomb, we go with stone bombs. And this is the wall in the middle layer, okay? Now, here's the thing. I want to replace this. I should actually replace this with the new pause.east because as I said, if we would use temp, it means that we had moved toward the center. Let me show you the demonstration. This is our goo. We already moved 2 level up, 2 level to the base, okay? And we made the decision that this should be either the stone or the air, doesn't matter. If we use the temp and move 2 blocks, that's our center. But if we use the new block and use the 2, now we are on the other side and we make the decision for this side. So the second line shouldn't be the temp, it should be new pause.east. Yes, we can go back into the game and check it, and that is exactly what we should do. So I will just take a look at the north direction, and let me stand there and go back and activate it. As you see, there we have it. It's a tunnel. We move toward the left, we put this block and this block. Then we would move toward the right, put this block and this block. If we are not even, we'll use the stone. If we are even, we are using air. And this is our tunnel, actually. As you see, it's a very long tunnel. And the air is still processing because it went out of our processing range. And we have ended with the windowed one. That's okay. So yeah, big distance. This distance is defined by your config. So if you don't like it, you can replace the configs. Maybe, I don't know, make it 32, 64, whatever number you are happy with. And now you have a safe way of traveling on lava easily because you can put this on the top level of the floor or even, the 1 block below inside the lava, and this will be the lava level, and you are moving right through the lava in nether. And if you do that carefully, there is a chance that you can break this and take, I don't know, maybe lava out of the world. Now, this has one little problem. If it's night, let me set the time. This tunnel will be too dark for you. And we already know that mobs will spawn and nether is always dark. So if you want to add torches here, you should figure things in an extra if case. And we want a torch here. We will ignore this one. We will add the torch here. Ignore this, add the torch here. And if I remove the first one, now we add a torch. Let's start from here, 1 and here. So we add a torch here, 1 block, 2 blocks, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And at the 8th, we add another one. So we can use something like this. If the modulus is 0, but instead of 2, we would say if z modulus 8 equals to 0, please process our blocks with the blocks and use torch. Of course, you need to come back 1 level. So you will say that temp equals to the new pause, and that should be, I don't know, -1 because we are in the block that is inside the tunnel now. And here we need to use temp. Then we need to process another torch on the temp dot, I don't know, east. Let's use 4 here because I'm moving toward the other direction. Actually, it should become 3 now because we are inside. So Let me see. I think I'm derping 1, 2, maybe. Okay, if everything works properly, now we should have torches sticking to the wall. Because we already added the stone blocks around ourselves, this may work or may not work. You just need to run the game. And don't forget, we are only finishing the north right now. But you will see that the other directions are easier because the only thing that you need to change is this north and every instance of the east, for example, and it would work. You just need to figure one of these things and then you just add the more code. Let's test this one and we'll go and finish our goo block in one go. Okay, let's go into the game and do the last test. Let's go with the replacement of our goo block and we are facing north. So activate it and we have a problem. We did crash. Okay, it says that, yeah, of course we have a problem here. It says that we can't set the property. The reason is that we don't have a Boolean property to set as torch as true or false on the torch. Guess what? We are using process block and process block is setting hovered property to true. That's wrong. We can't do that. So instead of this, I can get this code, go back up, and instead of using stone here, I will use torch. And for the position, we will go with temp.east 2 times. Now, before I start the game, I just forgot that I had a separate line on top and I fixed that one. Now, keep in mind, at the end, we will just keep one of these two if it works because we don't want torches to be in both sides. And we will make the decision on which side we should keep it. So let's run the game and see the result. Okay, let's go into the world and take a look. So I have a block, and if I activate it, actually, I'm replacing the whole thing. Okay, let's do it. Now, here is what I'm talking about. You see that I have a torch there, I have a torch here, and 8 blocks forward, I have a torch there, I have a torch there. Again, I have 2 torches on the ground, torches on the ground, torches on the ground. And this will continue forward till the end of the line simply because we are not successful in putting the torches. Now, here's the question. We were setting 2 blocks here and there. Also, we are putting stones here and there. So why do I see torches on the ground? Let's take a look at the code. We are saying that, hey, put the blocks as a stone bomb goo and air bomb goo. Okay, let's go with the stone bomb goo and let's find that the stone bomb goo. We can't find it here. So let's say that, hey, give at player stone, okay, ultra IO colon stone goo bomb, and please give me one. Of course, I don't have any place in the inventory right now, so it should be somewhere underground, hopefully. No? Okay, run the command one more time. There we go. So this is our stone bomb goo. Can I put the torch on it? No, I can't. But if I hold the shift and the sneak, I can put torches on it. Now take note what will happen when I activate it. The torches should remain there. Now this raises a question. Why can't I put torches here when this one, for example, is a stone bomb goo and I say that, hey, set the state of the world to be the torch here. It should behave because no matter the situation, they should stay. So either I'm doing something wrong or actually I'm having a problem here at these 2 lines of code. Also, here's another one of those questions. Which side of the wall I do want them to be? I prefer them to have on the right-hand side, and that would be east. Okay, so let's put the goo there and get ready for the next iteration. Let's close, let's go out, and we want the one that is on the east, and that would be this one being 1, and then removing this line, and we don't need the curly braces. You would think that using model predicates or stuff like that, or I don't know, different conditions, different properties, Minecraft would have only 1 block of torch. However, if you come into blocks and go into the implementation, you will see that it's torch block. Okay, now if I go into the torch block, I can take a look at the class and it has no properties, no model predicates, nothing like that. It's a simple block. Okay, however, take note, we have a wall torch, and again, wall torch block. So let's just try this before dealing with different debuggings and things like that. So I will remove that debug, but of course, I will run the game in debug mode now. I think this is the proper one because if you look at wall torch block, you see that it has outline shape and boundings and can place at, get placement, and rotate and mirror and append properties. Now you see that this wall torch block has a facing property. Now this makes sense because we can put torches on 4 walls around ourselves and the torch should rotate based on its facing. So yes, it looks like now we are dealing with the correct block. If you use torch block, the only time that it will work, I assume, is that when you are dealing with a block that has a solid block underneath it. In our case, we have air under ourselves, so it will drop to the floor. But wall torch should work, I think. So we will wait and see what happens in the game. Now you may ask me, why don't you use another fancier block? For example, maybe we can use glowstone block or sea lanterns, things like that, or even put lanterns on the wall instead of the torches. The thing is that we are crafting a single goo block, one single copper rod in the game and activating the block, and we will immediately get, I don't know, how many would it be? Let's do the math. 256 divided by 8, 32 blocks that are not cheap. I mean, sea lanterns are not cheap. Glowstone is cheap, okay? Lantern is nothing special. But I don't want to give the player the ability to break them and get his hand on 32 blocks that really came out of nowhere. However, torches are a little bit different. Torches are really cheap, and after some time, especially when you are visiting Nether or I don't know, any other place, you really don't care about torches anymore. So that should be okay, I think, to use torch here as the decoration on the wall. Now, I'm not doing it for the tunneling because I want to give you a challenge on the tunnels under the ground when you're mining, but for something like nether wandering around, yes, I will give you the torches inside the bridge just to make your life a little bit easier there. And it all boils down to balancing your mod via the gameplay experience, and we will have a video dedicated for this topic much later in the list, and at that time you will understand that some of these are personal decision makings that will not harm anyone, but you may want to make different decisions based on your different thought processes. So let's wait for the game to come up and test the final result. And as you saw, we don't need to create a new world or, I don't know, move around. We can just put our block again at the same spot, regenerate everything. Of course, we are dropping tons of items on the player, and this is a test world, and the player is actually in creative mode, so it won't harm the player. And then, as you see, if I activate this block here when facing into the tunnel, we are back in the spot with the whole thing being replaced with air and things like that. There we go. Now you see the torch is staying there. However, these are not. So let's see. And this is, by the way, is sticking to the wrong side. Now this is 0, Z10, okay? The coordinates is 0, 10, Z10, so 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And I don't have a torch here. This should be the torch. However, take note, the thing is that we are not setting the facing here. And the problem is exactly that, because now the torch is facing north, this first one. And if I want to put a torch facing north here, actually I'm hitting the air and the torch won't be there. After this, we need to say dot width, and we want the properties dot facing with the default value of direction dot east. Now this should be properly placed. One last test, and yes, this is the process that you have to pass and work when you are using guessing on the things. The good news is that when we are done with this and when we are finished with this, then we can easily handle the next south, east, and west directions for the facing. Basically, it's a bunch of copy pasting and then switching the directions, for example, for the facing, or when we are moving toward the north and east and stuff like that. And you will have your final code very soon. So your main problem here is figuring everything related to this single tunnel and fix everything, and the rest would be easy. Now you may see something and you are right in pointing your finger toward it. We have a little bit of a problem regarding our tunneling goo and our bridge goo. The problem is that the moment we activate the block, we have this massive hiccup in our frame per second and our game speed. Actually, we will freeze and it's not even lag. I mean, take a look. I'm just activating it. It's not playing anything and the game crashed right now. What is your problem? It says cannot set property enum properties facing. Values are north, east, southwest, up, down, as it does not exist in. Oh, yeah. I noticed something. Why am I using properties here? It should be wall, block, torch facing. This is really critical when we are playing with properties. Of course, we have a facing properties type, but this is a property related to wall, torch, block. I'm derping. Okay, let's go one last time. So let's go into the world. I will talk about that lag after I test because I don't want to be interrupted when I'm talking about it. You notice that we came right back before activating this block because, well, when the game crashes, the goo blocks are not saving anything special. Let's activate it. This is the halt and lag. As you see, the FPS goes to 1 or 2 or 4. And what now? I will add a torch here. I will add a torch there. F3 using the facing is east. Oh, wait, that's the player's facing, I think. So what is the block's property? Oh, I see. Let me show you. We have two different facings. I did derp again. The facing that you see here is the player's facing. Now, take note, we have this Minecraft wall torch facing west. This is what we want as the property of the block. I don't think that the mods that I'm using, naming minihod, has anything to show us. Now, the properties is here. For the properties of the block, I don't think so. Let me see. Info block properties. We have it. So now you see that I have that facing west at the end of the info here. So facing was west actually. It's facing the opposite direction. Okay, I will not test it again because I identified that we need to go with west here. So west. Now that I have everything, and I think I'm sure that this will work, all I need to do is copy this whole thing under facing north. Copy it and let's go for the south. Now I will not test everything every time because on the other situations I can go and test all of them in one go. Now for the south, we can analyze what we have and understand what's going on. We were moving toward north. Now we should move toward south, okay? So each time I see north, I should replace it with south. The easiest way to do that is just go and find every instance of north and replace it with south. That's our first pass. The second pass is dealing with this east. Because we are flipping 180 degrees, this one is easy. We will flip it to west. So just make sure that from now on you read line by line, making sure that you are not messing up with any of the directions here, and you should make sure that you are covering everything. Now on this one, take note, we were looking at east and the facing was the opposite, so when we are going west it should be east, and that should be our code ready. The only thing that we didn't change is the up direction because we are rotating horizontally, and in this case up is always up. Let's go for the east direction. Now things are becoming tricky here again. And yes, you may need to do some trying to figure the opposite left-hand side and right-hand side, but we have a cheat sheet for that and you can take a look at that. Well, we know that we are moving toward east, okay? Now let's figure things out. If we were looking north, and we were using east, it means that we were using our right hand side. So if we are looking at east and the character is here looking at the east direction, what is his right hand side? You can try it in 3D and in Word. Just look around the room and you will notice that it will be south. So if we are moving toward east, this should be south. Now, each time, and this is why I said just fix one direction and then come back to the other one, because right now I have a south here and I have a south here. This one is the correct one, this is the wrong one. So first, replace every instance of south to be the east, and then you are done. You can get every instance of west and replace it to south. And finally here we are looking at the opposite. So opposite of the south is north. Again, copy everything, come back down, and one final thing. Now that we have the east, this one is easy because we are just flipping everything to the opposite mirror of it. So this would be west. Okay, let's fix that one. West, west, west. Oh, this is south. Don't touch that. And that should be it. Okay. Now, the south is being flipped and will become north. copy it, and each time you see south, you will replace it with north, except this one that should become south, the opposite way. Finally, our code should be ready. This will be our last test before we talk about the lag problem. So let's go into the game, and now we need to tweak our surroundings a little bit so that we can be able to do a complete test on all 4 directions. Okay, this is not the proper direction, and I should have known that I need to go into the south. I will expand this platform like so. Actually, let's do it this way. Give myself a little bit of leeway. And how many blocks did I leave here? Not enough. Okay, now I will put 1 goo block at the end of each of these lines. And finally, I will stand in here and I will look into one direction and activate 1 goo block at a time. I can't rotate, I can't do anything because I have 0 FPS, 1 FPS, and then suddenly everything behaves. Now on the other one, boom, you see the torches are on the walls properly on the right hand side on those 2, and in this one it's okay, and finally this one should be okay. Oh wait, we screwed up when we are looking at west. Okay, the other 3 are okay, and I think that I may missed the replacement of the facing. So we were looking at west here. Yeah, I totally forgot to replace these last 2. Actually, I think I forgot just this one. It should be north. There we go, and save it. This should behave. I just forgot one moving around, and if I come back to the game, I may find hints about it. If I look at the torch, look at that. Our torches should be on the right hand side, but here they were on the left hand side, and it indicates that I moved toward the wrong direction. And of course, the facing was totally wrong at that time, and torches wouldn't stick to the wall. Okay, now, other than the normal lag spikes that I have because of recording the video, I think we have already finished our goo blocks, and especially the important ones, because as I said, the pump goo block will be replaced later by machines. However, as I indicated, we have a huge problem here. I mean, okay, I have 60 some FPS, maybe 40 sometimes, but when I activate a goo block, I get down to 1 or 2 and sometimes at 8 FPS. The reason is that we are destroying tons of blocks and immediately replacing those blocks with lots and lots and lots of goo. So let me do it this way. One more. Okay, I did want to have this shape sitting close to each other. Okay, what can we do about this lag? Well, we will come back in the next video and talk about the advantages that you get using object-oriented programming. We already are using that advantage without knowing it, but I want you to know what is going on and how you can get more benefits using that same thing, because well, let's face it, at some point I will do my tick logic tutorial videos on the library series, and at that point we are heavily getting advantage of object-oriented programming. And by using object-oriented programming, we will fix our little problem using the goo blocks, and we will face how we can solve it. If you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on that bell so that when I publish a new video, you will get informed. Have fun everyone. Bye.